information and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We are a certified home healthcare agency servicing Palm Beach County, Broward, and Miami-Dade. You can reach us directly at 954-717-7027. I am your host, Louise Gomez, and today I am excited to introduce everybody to Dr. Yuval Bibi, who can be reached at 561-622-6976, and the location of the office is 10335 North Military Trail, Suite A, Palm Beach Gardens 33410, and the website drbborganics.com. Thank you for coming to the show, Doctor. We appreciate you.
It's a pleasure, Louise. It's great to see you again.
Absolutely. And I wanted to plug your book. We're going to talk about this after, but everybody who's listening and watching, Sick Skin Made Simple. So we're going to talk about that book in a minute, but let's get into a little bit of, tell us, Dr. Bibi, how long have you been a dermatologist?
So I graduated the training back in 2010.
Nice.
And I was working a little bit of moonlighting before that, and obviously in training, so quite a few years now.
Okay. And what made you want to become a dermatologist? What made you say, I think it's dermatology that I want to go into?
Yeah, that's a great question, Louise. I really liked a lot of the elements of dermatology practice. It's an outpatient practice. You see a lot of patients. You see a wide range of problems that people experience. Many times you can actually help people right on the spot, or in a very short period of time. You can get them relief, and you can find answers for problems that they've been facing often for many long years or long months. So people struggling can come to you. You can find very quick and elegant solutions to their problems. And a lot of the times you can take care of a very wide range of problems for the same patient and their family. So very exciting field to be in. Down the road, I found out that dermatology has a lot of technological advancements that are attached to it, a lot of great scientific discoveries about the skin and skin biology that made dermatology a far more effective and potent specialty. So it's a very exciting field to be in.
Yeah, and especially being here in South Florida, what I was going to ask, what type of demographic do you see? What are your patients normally come in for? What is the demographic?
All right, that's a great question, Louise. So we actually see dermatologists are sort of very similar to primary care physicians in the demographics that we see. So we see anybody from birth to the 100 plus years of age. So we see anybody and everybody, both sexes, male and female. We see pretty much anybody who comes in. There's really not a whole lot of not a whole lot of people that we can't see. In fact, we pretty much see anybody who comes in. So anybody has a problem with skin, we see them.
So let me ask you this. So someone like myself, middle-aged female, looking at my skin and I'm wondering, is there anything I can do besides these over-the-counter products? Like, what is it? Is there any hope for us women out there that are, maybe we're aging gracefully, but at the same token, would like to know, maybe are there options for us to kind of get the elasticity or to get the texture back into our skin? And what are some of your suggestions to women that you see like myself?
Right, Louise, so the most important thing is really to understand, well things do continue to develop as we go through life and we get older, there are definitely things that we can do to, first of all, slow things down from getting to where we don't want them to go necessarily.
Right.
And then we can improve things that come up as we go through life. So very important, first of all, the element of sun protection is important.
Yes.
And this is obviously an individual pursuit. Everybody has different skin
Sure.
type and different relationship with sun exposure. But first of all, avoiding or not getting sunburned is a very important element of that. The very deep tans can also be a problem, especially for fair-skinned people, so that can result down the road in some blemishing of the skin and some wrinkling of the skin in very fair-skinned people, what we call premature aging of the skin. So first of all, preventative measures are something that's very important to be aware of and not throw caution to the wind when you do that. There's a balance to that, obviously. You don't want to go crazy with avoiding sun. Obviously, we all need sun
Sure.
exposure, but not overdo it is a very important element of skincare and making sure that things don't go too far very quickly. Now, the second element is really to, first of all, be aware of what it is that bothers you about your skin, what it is that you want to address. Different people have different
Sure.
issues. So, Louise, if you have dry skin, for example, my recommendation would be, first of all, do no harm. Don't make your skin drier. A lot of the skincare practices and products that people use.
There's so many different ingredients.
So many different ingredients.
I'm looking at things,
Yes.
I'm like, okay, there's like 50 ingredients and I can't pronounce 25 of them.
Exactly, and that's a red flag right
Yes,
there. It
I
should
would
tell you
say.
that a lot of those ingredients, if every ingredient would have been so great, you wouldn't have needed 30-odd, 40-odd, 50-odd ingredients in a product. And what the interesting thing about a lot of those ingredients is that they actually, and I put this in my book, is that they are actually not serving the primary promise or the benefit that the product purports to provide. So those ingredients, a lot of them are called inactive ingredients, but they're anything but inactive. They actually do carry functions, only the functions are serving the manufacturer to create a better experience for the user, so they keep on coming back for more without necessarily minding the benefit of the product. So it's very important, first of all, to choose your products wisely, but also recognize, Louise, when we actually use a product, what are we using it for? So the dry skin would, first of all, you don't want to make the dry skin worse by using products that make the skin dry, such as detergents or other abrasives, hot water, for instance.
Right.
But you also, in a lot of cases, need to complement that with a moisturization process. So a moisturizer, you need to use, in my book, you need to use one, or in my standards, you need to use one product that works well, know how to use it appropriately so it gives you great benefit and great results every single time, and continue to do that consistently along with what your skin tells you. So the skin is a very dynamic organ, just like any other organ in the
Right.
human body. It's not a fossil, it doesn't
Right.
stand still. So it's very important to be aware of that dynamic of the skin changing properties and changing conditions, and meet those demands or those needs of the skin in a timely fashion and in a very conscious manner, not just automatically do things.
I have a question that a lot of people probably are curious to know. What are some of the most important ingredients we should look for in an SPF? Because when we look at SPFs, we see so many ingredients.
Right.
If we're going to keep it basic and simple, what do you suggest are maybe the top 1, 2, or 3 ingredients that we should look for that would be in an SPF?
Yeah, that's a great question, Louise. So the SPF, which is, by the way, sun protective factor, does relate specifically to the ability of an ingredient or a molecule to mitigate the exposure or the intensity that is experienced by the skin to ultraviolet light B. So there are a couple of spectrums in the ultraviolet spectrum, a couple of categories there. So we're talking about ultraviolet B light. And there's been a lot of controversy regarding ingredients that provide SPF value in
agreed.
skincare products and in sunscreens. And it's an ongoing process that is being undertaken by the regulatory agencies and some of the academic organizations that are dermatology related or
Right.
cancer related in nature. So the most recent updates is that The FDA largely focused on 2 ingredients, calling them grays, which is generally regarded as safe and effective.
Okay.
They have their acronyms, the government people.
Sure.
So they focused on zinc oxide and titanium dioxide as meeting those grays criteria.
Okay.
Now, I want to pause and say, Louise, that these are not necessarily a full bulletproof endorsement of these
Sure.
ingredients. There are some side effects that can be incurred by using products that contain these 2 ingredients. However, they're considered the safest to apply on the skin, the least irritating, the least likely to get absorbed into the body and incur or cause downstream effects inside the body. So these are the 2 that are considered the safest right now in the academia and government level. And they work very well. They're broad spectrum blockers, so they block a lot of the ultraviolet rays.
Yes.
And they provide excellent protection. Plus, they're very sturdy, so they can stay on the skin for a long time, and you can actually benefit from that as well.
Yeah, because a lot of people are concerned, you know, they're reading these labels and they're like, my God, if I put on this SPF that has 50 ingredients, is it worse off to put all those chemicals on my body, or should I just, you know, only go out to the sun for 15 minutes?
That's a great point, Louise. So what's really important is I really want to call for the listeners and the viewers watching us right now to really use your best judgment. And I think the best thing you can do is really mitigate your sun exposure to the point where you obviously don't get sunburned. Don't do that if you can avoid it.
Right.
I mean, everybody gets sunburned every now and again, but don't make it a habit.
Right.
As far as really spending a lot of time out in the sun, if you expect to do that, then you can't find shade and you can't get sun protective clothing, can't get under an umbrella, then by all means opt for the sunblock. But do make an effort to really combine all these different means of protecting yourself from prolonged sun exposure and not necessarily reach reflexively for that sunblock, where you can actually exercise sun protection using other means that are less controversial, probably a whole lot more safe than using sunblock on the skin without having to worry.
Thank you so much for that. I want to ask a little bit about what the intention for the book is, because it's called Sick Skin Made Simple. And so I know writing a book takes time. I've written a book. So please share with the audience, what was the intention for this book, and what is it that you want to really share with the audience about your book?
Yeah, thanks for that, Louise. So I wrote Sick Skin, Skincare Made Simple a few years ago, and my intention was to convey what I've discovered and found out as a dermatologist working in an outpatient clinic. I was living in Burbank, California at the time, and I was really taking a deeper look into a lot of the products that were recommended wholesale by dermatologists and other people who are adjacent to dermatologists, people who are skincare professionals, estheticians, and other people working with dermatologists, and sometimes even online influencers without a whole lot of training. Doesn't mean, by the way, that these people don't know anything. These people are very knowledgeable people, and they do their own research. Some of them are very serious people. But what I really wanted to find out is, what is the justification or the merit? What is the reason and what is the benefit to using a lot of these products? And what I found out in my research of writing this book is that a lot of the recommendations that are being made very cavalierly, very frivolously in the skincare industry by many skincare professionals.
Right.
And by the way, a lot of them unwittingly, there's people kind of make the recommendations because they got it from a figure of authority in their own field, and they trust that figure.
Right.
A lot of those recommendations were really not well founded as far as the benefit that these products or practices can provide to the user. So I took a few deeper dives into the skincare industry's strategies as how to develop products, what is the purpose of the product being offered, and a lot of the times I found that the purpose of the product was actually quite different than the promised benefits.
Interesting.
And this is very interesting about the skincare industry. A lot of it is very ritualistic. I think a lot of us watching or listening probably have skincare routines, and they almost seem like religious rituals, like rites and catechisms and whatnot, and for the Catholics of us. And you know, there's these daily rituals that people follow very, very adherently, and people are very attached to their skincare. You criticize criticize someone's skincare, that's an affront to a lot of people. They take it very personally. And there's a very deep attachment for the users to their skincare products. Some people have brand loyalty that lasts years or decades. You can ask, I've asked a woman, what kind of makeup brand do you use? A lot of them are very loyal to that makeup brand or that moisturizer. And with those loyalties and those adherent rituals, there's almost a religious aspect to it. But I wanted to actually go behind the curtain, roll the curtain back, and see what is behind and all this big organizational practice. And I wanted to see what are the true benefits. And what I found in my research were a lot of very shocking facts.
We're going to come back. We got a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get those shocking facts because I want to know. Quick commercial break, everybody. We'll be right back.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027, or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Thanks for tuning back in to You and Your Doctor. And we have Dr. Yuval Bibi today. His number is 561-622-6976. Website is drbborganics.com. And the office is 10335 North Military Trail, Suite A, Palm Beach Gardens, 33410. So, Dr. Bibi, I was intrigued by this conversation. You were saying you were doing a deep dive in research, and you found some interesting, shocking things. You want to share with us a little bit of what you discovered through your research for your book, Sick Skin?
Sure, Louise. So in essence, what I found is that a lot of those rituals, first of all, do not have any proven benefit for the consumer, for the user of the product. And by that I mean that whole categories of products have very shaky evidence to support their efficacy. For instance, the cleansing that a lot of people engage in from head to toe, I'm talking about from head to toe, not the hand washing, which does actually have great benefit in the right circumstances and the right settings for preventing the spread of infection. And that's been proven in many different contexts. But the washing or using of detergents and cleansing products from head to toe, that is where we get into shaky grounds. It's actually not proven to be very effective. Now, the interesting thing is, and that is just one example, there are countless examples, is that with that very shaky grounds for using these products, a lot of people say, well, what's the harm? I want the shampoo, I want to wash my face, I want to scrub, I want to exfoliate my whole body, no hot water. Well, the problem is that a lot of these unnecessary or very not very well-founded practices and products can actually cause side effects to the user. Some of them are very clear. When you use anything abrasive on the skin, you will actually abrade the skin, as in the meaning of the word, and you will actually disrupt the skin barrier.
Excuse me for the interruption. So I see all the time, like, exfoliate your skin, buy
Right.
this loofah, this
Right.
sponge, or whatever. It's so good for your skin. Is that not something that's good to do?
So that is actually not a good thing to do,
really?
and it's interesting.
Exfoliating is not a good
It is
thing.
not. It is not, and that's
With knowing, let's say you have no product, just the exfoliation.
just the physical abrasion has
Really?
virtually, in most of the cases, virtually
Interesting.
very little proof of benefit for the user. And what's amazing is that those loofahs and those
Yeah.
brushes and washcloths and any other very physically rough device
Sure.
applied to the skin, those things, and by design, they're designed to irritate the skin physically. That's
Right.
what they do.
Sure.
It's as if, I mean, you scratch your skin, you're going to cause, even if it's for a good cause,
Right.
suppose you need to scratch some itch on your skin
Of course.
and get relief, you are still going to irritate that area physically.
Right.
Now, when that is done consistently and purposefully and over a long period of time, you do actually end up with damage to the skin barrier.
So it's not such a good thing, then.
It's not such a good thing, and that's why, the interesting thing is that can actually happen even with medicated washes or cleansers, which sometimes are actually necessary to treat skin conditions. That is still not without a price. You do pay a price in undermining the skin barrier, which is so the skin barrier is quite a complicated organ or quite a complicated concept. It consists of many, many different building blocks that are strewn together very, very intricately and very delicately to protect the skin and allow it to carry its function. When you go in with a heavy hand, no pun
Right.
intended, and you start messing with that, you will actually disrupt the skin barrier. Now, the most common or most obvious way to disrupt the skin barrier is that you make it more permeable and you make it less able to protect the skin from the outside elements. But there are other instances or other effects on the skin barrier that we think of a whole lot less that can actually have pretty serious effects downstream. That can create sensitivity of the skin. There's a disruption of the microbiome with a lot of these products. The microbiome, by the way, it's a pretty old concept, but it's coming into focus specifically over the past decade or so.
More research
People
into
are paying
it.
a whole lot more attention to it. That's
Yeah.
right, Louise. And what's amazing is that the microbiome was sort of ignored for many,
Yes.
many decades. Then the gut microbiome started coming into focus, and now the skin microbiome, we're finding out some pretty interesting things about it. And I think what stood out to me was that this is so complicated, so complex. The skin is such an amazing organ with so many different intricacies. When I see something this complex, this intricate, my recommendation is tread lightly. Don't go with a heavy-handed approach and just blowtorch the thing to get some sort of a feel-good benefit if you can help yourself. But rather,
Right.
each thing you do have a purpose to it and an intention and really address an ongoing
Makes
skin
sense.
issue or an anticipated skin issue.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah.
a person who knows you have sensitive skin
Sure.
that gets sensitized or gets very dry, very often then you can definitely swoop in and moisturize more frequently. But the recommendation is really be mindful of what your skin is, how to recognize its
I like
needs,
that,
how
yeah.
to communicate with the skin, which is what I call skinese, the language of the
I
skin, and
like
actually understand that. And Louise, down the road, actually answer those needs or those requirements that, or pleas for help.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
some cases, that
Yeah.
the skin actually submits to you or tells you.
So we have 2 minutes left, Dr. Bibi. What do you want to share with everybody about your book? Where can they find your book? And you have the floor. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Louise. So the book, Six Skin, Skincare Made Simple, you can find it on Amazon. It's now available in audio. We released the audio
nice.
version a few months ago. And it's very important. This book will tell you how the skincare industry creates products out of whole cloth, promotes them to the users, but what's more important, it'll actually teach you how to understand your own skin individually by recognizing cues and signs that the skin gives you and answer those signs and cues and requests in the most cost-effective way possible. Moreover, the book will actually tell you when you've gone as far as you can and when it's time to talk to the best, which is usually a board-certified dermatologist, to address an ongoing issue. So that could be found on Amazon.
Wonderful.
And I also have a YouTube channel called The Rogue Dermatologist, in which I discuss a lot of the different aspects of the skincare industry and how to take care of your skin. Amongst other issues, by the way, that's the focus of the channel, but there are other issues discussed. And I also have an X account, Yuval Bibi MD Art on X. Find me there and reach out to me on drbibiorganics.com.
Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
on
you,
this
Louise.
show.
It's
I
a pleasure.
appreciate you. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to You and Your Doctor, featured by All County Healthcare, and we will see you next week. Have a good one. Take care.